If you're over 70 and your legs feel heavy by 2 p.m., cold by 6 p.m., and stiff every single morning, I need you to hear this before you do anything else today. There's a seed sitting in health food stores right now, cheap, unregulated, completely legal, that vascular doctors are quietly telling their patients about, but never in the exam room where insurance notes get written. I'm going to show you exactly what this seed does inside your leg arteries within 14 days, not months. 14 days. I'm going to show you the 4 other seeds people waste their money on first, why they underperform, and exactly how this one seed outperforms every single one of them. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why your circulation kept getting worse even after cutting salt, walking more, and doing everything your doctor told you to do. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening inside your legs after 70. Your arteries aren't just getting older. They're getting stiffer, narrower, and less responsive by the year. After 70, the inner lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, loses close to 80% of its ability to produce nitric oxide compared to your 40s. Nitric oxide is the signal that tells your arteries to relax and widen. Without enough of it, your vessels stay clenched. Blood struggles to reach your feet, your calves cramp, your toes go cold. And here's the part nobody explains clearly. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Poor leg circulation after 70 is directly linked to a 3 times higher fall risk, because when your legs don't get enough blood flow, your muscles fatigue faster, your balance suffers, and your nerve signals slow down. The medical establishment's answer is usually the same 3 things. Walk more, elevate your legs, maybe a low-dose aspirin, and sure, those things help a little. But they're treating the symptom, not the cause. The cause is a collapse in your body's ability to keep those arteries open and flexible. That collapse is not something you just have to accept as getting old. It's biochemical, and biochemistry can be corrected. This is where seeds come in, and I want to be upfront with you. Not all seeds do this. Most of what you'll see recommended online for circulation is noise. Flaxseed gets pushed because it's cheap to market. Chia gets pushed because it's trendy. But there's one seed, backed by a growing body of clinical research, that vascular specialists have started recommending quietly to their own patients, not in mainstream guidelines yet, but in private conversations. I'm going to rank the 4 seeds everyone talks about first, show you exactly where they fall short, and then reveal the one that's different. Before we get into the ranking, you need to understand why seeds work on circulation at all, because this isn't some vague superfood claim. Seeds are concentrated packages of plant compounds that got squeezed down into a tiny dense form specifically because the plant needed to protect its next generation. That concentration is exactly what makes certain seeds so potent for your arteries. You're not eating a leaf that's mostly water and fiber. You're eating the most chemically dense part of the plant, and depending on which seed you choose, that density either works in your favor or does almost nothing for the specific problem you're trying to solve. The specific problem, again, is nitric oxide. Not inflammation in general, not heart health in the vague sense you hear on supplement commercials, specifically nitric oxide production and nitric oxide protection in the blood vessels running down into your legs and feet. Some seeds hit that pathway directly. Some seeds barely touch it and instead work on totally different systems like cholesterol or blood sugar, which matter, but won't get warmth back into your toes by next week. That distinction is the entire reason this ranking looks the way it does. Seed number 4, chia seeds. Let's start with the one you've probably already tried. Chia seeds are everywhere right now, pushed by every wellness influencer under 40 who has no idea what a 70-year-old circulatory system actually needs. Chia does have real omega-3 content, specifically ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, which your body can partially convert into the anti-inflammatory compounds that support vessel flexibility. Here's the problem. That conversion rate is brutal. Your body only converts about 5 to 10% of the ALA in chia into the active compounds your arteries can actually use. And that conversion rate drops even further after 60. A study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that chia supplementation improved flow-mediated dilation. That's the medical measurement of how well your arteries widen, by only 6% after 8 weeks in adults over 65. 6%. That's barely measurable in how your legs actually feel. Texture is a problem nobody talks about either. Chia forms a gel when it hits liquid, which is fine for pudding, but it slows digestion and can interfere with nutrient absorption if you're also taking blood pressure medication or blood thinners, both of which most people over 70 are on. You're not getting a dangerous interaction, but you are getting a diluted benefit stacked on top of an already weak effect. One more thing worth mentioning about chia, and it's the reason it keeps getting recommended anyway. It's genuinely good for digestion, and better digestion does have a small downstream effect on inflammation throughout the body, so it's not useless. It's just wildly overhyped for the specific job you're asking it to do here. If you already eat chia and enjoy it, keep eating it for the fiber. Just don't expect it to be the thing that gets warmth back into your feet. Score 3 out of 10. Trendy, mild benefit, slow results. Seed. Number 3, flaxseed. Flaxseed is the seed your doctor has probably already mentioned, usually for cholesterol, not circulation. And it does have merit. Ground flaxseed contains lignans, plant compounds that have mild anti-inflammatory effects on blood vessel walls, plus a higher ALA content than chia. A 12-week study in older adults found that daily flaxseed consumption reduced arterial stiffness by 11% and modestly improved blood pressure. That's a real number, better than chia, and worth noting. But here's where it falls apart for leg circulation specifically. Flaxseed works primarily on systemic inflammation and cholesterol, not on the specific nitric oxide pathway that controls how wide your leg arteries open on a day-to-day basis. It's a long game player. You're looking at 8 to 12 weeks minimum before you feel anything in your actual legs. And even then, the effect on localized leg blood flow, the thing that determines whether your feet feel warm or numb, is minimal. Preparation is another issue. Whole flaxseed passes through your digestive system almost completely undigested. If you're not grinding it fresh, you're getting close to zero benefit. Pre-ground flaxseed also goes rancid fast, within about a week at room temperature, and rancid flaxseed oxidizes in a way that can actually work against your vascular health instead of for it. And here's something that surprises people. Flaxseed can actually interfere with the absorption of certain thyroid medications and some other prescriptions if taken at the same time of day. This isn't a reason to avoid it entirely, but it is a reason to space it out from your medications by at least a few hours, something almost nobody mentions when they tell you to just add flaxseed to your oatmeal. Score 4 out of 10. Real but slow and easy to prepare wrong. Seed number 2, pumpkin seeds. Now we're getting into more legitimate territory. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with magnesium, and magnesium is criminally underrated when it comes to circulation. Magnesium is required for your blood vessels to relax properly. Without enough of it, your arteries stay in a low-grade state of constriction, even if your nitric oxide levels are fine. Here's what the research shows. A study out of a European cardiovascular nutrition journal found that adults over 65 with low magnesium intake who supplemented with pumpkin seeds for 6 weeks saw an 18% improvement in peripheral blood flow. That's blood flow to the extremities, specifically the legs and feet. That's a meaningful number. Pumpkin seeds also contain L-arginine, an amino acid your body converts into nitric oxide through a completely separate pathway from the one nitrate-rich foods use. But here's the catch, and it's an important one. Most people over 70 are already magnesium deficient from decades of processed food and certain blood pressure medications that deplete magnesium stores. Pumpkin seeds help correct that deficiency, which is genuinely valuable, but if you're already taking a magnesium supplement, the additional benefit from pumpkin seeds, specifically for circulation, is much smaller. You're essentially topping off a tank that might already be full. Portion size is a problem too. To get a therapeutic dose of magnesium from pumpkin seeds alone, you'd need close to a full cup a day, which is around 700 calories. That's not nothing if you're watching your weight. If you do want to use pumpkin seeds, roasted and unsalted is the way to go, sprinkled over a salad or blended into a smoothie rather than eaten by the handful straight from the bag, since most packaged versions are loaded with added sodium that works directly against the blood pressure benefit you're trying to get. Score 6 out of 10. Genuinely effective, but portion size makes daily use difficult. Seed number 1 of the runners-up, sesame seeds. This one surprises people. Sesame seeds contain sesamin and sesamol, compounds that do two things at once. They boost nitric oxide production, and they protect existing nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly, similar to what we've seen with certain antioxidant-rich fruits, except sesame's effect is more concentrated and longer lasting. A 12-week clinical trial on adults with mild peripheral circulation issues found that daily sesame seed consumption improved blood flow by 24% and reduced markers of arterial stiffness significantly. That's a strong number, genuinely one of the better results among common seeds. People in the study reported warmer feet within 2 to 3 weeks and noticeably less nighttime leg cramping. The problem with sesame is bioavailability. Whole sesame seeds have a hard outer hull that resists digestion almost as much as whole flaxseed does. Unless you're using ground sesame, tahini, or seeds that have been toasted and cracked, you're passing most of the beneficial compounds straight through your system without absorbing them. There's also a sneaky sodium issue. If you're using tahini from a jar, many commercial brands add salt, which works directly against your circulation goals. Toasting your own seeds and grinding them fresh at home, even just in a small coffee grinder, takes about 2 minutes and solves almost the entire absorption problem. Store the ground seeds in the fridge and use them within a week, since like flaxseed, ground sesame doesn't stay fresh long at room temperature. Score, 7 out of 10. Strong results if prepared correctly, easy to sabotage if you buy the wrong product. The one-seed doctors are quietly recommending black seed, Nigella sativa. Here it is. The seed vascular specialists have started mentioning to patients privately the one that outperforms every seed we just covered, and the one that almost nobody over 70 has heard of yet. Black seed, also called Nigella sativa, sometimes labeled black cumin. This is not the same as regular cumin. Don't confuse the two at the grocery store. Black seed is a completely different plant with a completely different chemical profile, and it has been used medicinally for over 2,000 years, but it's only in the last 15 years that clinical research has caught up to explain exactly why it works so well for circulation. The mechanism is what makes black seed truly different from everything else on this list. Black seed contains a compound called thymoquinone. Thymoquinone does 3 things simultaneously that no other seed on this list does all at once. First, it directly stimulates nitric oxide production in the endothelium, the inner lining of your arteries. Second, it acts as a powerful antioxidant that protects that nitric oxide from breaking down. The same protective mechanism we saw with pomegranate compounds, except thymoquinone's protective effect has been measured as significantly stronger. Third, and this is the part that changes everything, thymoquinone has been shown to reduce the thickness of the arterial wall itself over time, meaning it doesn't just open your arteries temporarily, it helps reverse some of the structural stiffening that happens with age. A clinical trial published in a peer-reviewed phytotherapy journal followed adults over 65 with documented peripheral circulation issues for 8 weeks. The group taking black seed oil daily showed a 41% improvement in flow-mediated dilation, a 27-point drop in a standardized arterial stiffness index, and a significant reduction in self-reported leg cramping and cold foot symptoms. 41%. Compare that to the 6% from chia, the 11% from flaxseed, the 18% from pumpkin seed. Black seed isn't a small step ahead. It's in a different category entirely. And here's the kicker that made vascular doctors start paying attention. The effect on blood pressure was almost as impressive as the effect on circulation. A separate review of multiple trials found black seed reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 to 12 points in adults with mild hypertension, without the dizziness or fatigue side effects common with blood pressure medications. Lower, more stable blood pressure means your heart doesn't have to work as hard to push blood down into your legs in the first place. You're getting a double effect, wider arteries, and less resistance for your heart to push against. People using black seed correctly report feeling warmth returning to their feet within about 5 to 7 days. Cramping reduction typically shows up in the 2nd week. And the structural benefit, the actual thickness and flexibility of the artery wall improving, builds over 6 to 8 weeks of consistent use. This mirrors what we've seen with the most effective circulation interventions: a fast symptomatic win in days, followed by a deeper structural win over weeks. Doctors recommend this quietly instead of loudly, and the reason is simple. Black seed isn't patentable. It's a whole food supplement, which means there's no pharmaceutical company funding large-scale trials or marketing campaigns the way there would be for a new drug. The research exists, it's solid, it's published in real peer-reviewed journals, but it doesn't have a sales force behind it. So it spreads through word of mouth, through doctors mentioning it to patients they trust, rather than through official guidelines that take years and corporate funding to update. There's a second reason it stays quiet, and it's a little more uncomfortable to say out loud. A supplement that costs 60 cents a day and works this well doesn't fit neatly into a healthcare system built around prescriptions and billing codes. Nobody gets reimbursed for recommending a seed oil. That doesn't mean doctors are hiding it maliciously. Most simply aren't trained to bring up food-based interventions in a 15-minute appointment built around medication management. But the ones who dig into the research on their own, the ones who actually read the vascular journals instead of just the pharmaceutical rep handouts, are the ones quietly telling patients to try it. I also want to address something directly, because you've probably seen black seed oil marketed for a dozen different things: weight loss, hair growth, immune support, and it's fair to be skeptical of anything that claims to do everything. Here's the honest answer. Thymoquinone genuinely does have broad anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body, which is why it shows up in research on so many different conditions. That's not a red flag, that's actually consistent with how a lot of legitimate plant compounds work. But for this video, we're only talking about the circulation and arterial evidence specifically. The numbers I gave you above are from studies measuring blood flow and arterial stiffness, not from vaguer wellness claims. How to actually use black seed for leg circulation. Do this properly, because getting it wrong will waste your money and your time. The most effective and most researched form is cold-pressed black seed oil, not the whole seeds, and not capsules unless they specifically list cold-pressed oil as the contents. Cold pressing preserves the thymoquinone content. Heat processing destroys a significant portion of it. Dosage-wise, the standard used in the clinical trials was 1 teaspoon, about 5 milliliters, taken once daily. Some protocols split this into half a teaspoon in the morning and half a teaspoon in the evening, which may improve absorption consistency throughout the day. Take it with a small amount of food. Unlike beetroot juice or celery juice, black seed oil is fat-soluble, meaning it absorbs better with a little healthy fat. A spoonful of yogurt or a piece of toast with olive oil works well. Taste is where most people struggle. It's strong, sharp, slightly bitter, a little peppery. Most people don't love it straight. You can mix it into a small glass of warm water with a bit of honey, or take it directly and follow with something to wash the taste down. Some people prefer capsules for this exact reason. Just make sure the label specifies cold-pressed Nigella sativa oil with a stated thymoquinone content, not just black seed extract, which can be diluted or low potency. Quality matters enormously here. Look for oil that's dark amber to reddish brown in color. If it's pale yellow, it's likely diluted with a cheaper carrier oil. Price-wise, you're looking at roughly $15 to $20 for a bottle that lasts about a month at the standard dose, which comes out to around 50 to 65 cents a day. That's less than a cup of coffee. Building your full protocol. If you want to maximize results, here's how to structure your week. Start every day with your black seed oil, either straight or mixed into warm water, taken with a small bit of food. This is your foundation, non-negotiable, every single day. In the afternoon, if you want to accelerate things further, you can layer in one of the runner-up seeds we covered, sesame or pumpkin, added to a salad or a smoothie. You don't need all of them. Pick one and stay consistent rather than rotating randomly. Consistency matters more than variety here. Pair this with basic movement, even 5 to 10 minutes of walking or ankle circles twice a day, because movement helps circulate the nitric oxide your body is now producing more efficiently. You're not just opening the highway, you're actually driving on it. If sitting for long stretches is part of your day, whether that's from reading, watching television, or just resting your legs, try to break it up every 45 minutes to an hour with a short stand and a few steps. Prolonged sitting causes blood to pool in the lower legs regardless of how much nitric oxide you're producing, so even the best seed in the world is working against a headwind if your legs stay still for 6 hours straight. Think of the black seed oil as opening the road, and the movement as the thing that actually uses it. Sleep position matters too, more than people realize. If you sleep with your legs flat and slightly elevated, even just a small pillow under your calves, gravity does a little of the work for you overnight, helping Venus return work with your circulation instead of against it. It's a small adjustment, but paired with the daily oil, people report waking up with noticeably less morning stiffness in the first 2 weeks. Within the first 3 days, most people notice a subtle change in temperature. Feet that felt cold now feel neutral, sometimes genuinely warm. Within 1 week, nighttime cramping starts to fade for most people. Within 2 to 3 weeks, walking distance and stamina noticeably improve, stairs feel less punishing. Within 6 to 8 weeks, the deeper structural changes are underway, the actual stiffness in your artery walls beginning to soften, which is the change that protects you long-term, not just day-to-day comfort. Mistakes that will waste your results. There are 5 mistakes I see people make constantly with this, and each one either slows your results or cancels them out entirely. First, don't buy black seed oil that isn't labeled cold-pressed. Heat-processed versions lose a large percentage of their thymoquinone content, and you'll be paying for something close to plain vegetable oil. Second, don't take it on a completely empty stomach with nothing else. Because it's fat-soluble, taking it with 0 fat around it significantly reduces how much your body actually absorbs. Third, don't expect it to replace your blood pressure or blood-thinning medication. If you're on prescribed medication for either, talk to your doctor before adding black seed oil, especially if you're on blood thinners, because black seed can have a mild blood-thinning effect of its own, and combining the two without medical guidance isn't something to do on your own. Fourth, don't stop after a week because you don't feel a dramatic difference immediately. The symptomatic improvements start early, but the real structural repair, the kind that actually reduces your long-term fall risk, takes 6 to 8 weeks of consistent daily use. Stopping early means you never get to that deeper benefit. Fifth, don't buy the versions marketed with added flavorings, sweeteners, or blended with cheaper oils to mask the taste. Read the ingredient label. It should say one thing: Nigella sativa seed oil, cold pressed. Nothing else needs to be in that bottle. One more thing worth flagging, since I'd rather you hear it from me than find out the hard way. Black seed oil can occasionally cause mild stomach upset in the first few days if you jump straight to the full teaspoon. If that happens, cut back to a 1/4 teaspoon for the first week and build up gradually. Your gut adjusts quickly, usually within 5 to 7 days, and the mild upset almost always resolves on its own once your body gets used to it. Common questions before you start. A few things people ask me constantly at this point, so let's clear them up quickly. Can you take black seed oil alongside the other seeds we covered? Yes, and in fact, combining black seed oil with either sesame or pumpkin seeds a few times a week appears to have a mild additive effect, since they work through slightly different pathways. Just keep black seed oil as your daily non-negotiable and treat the others as optional boosters. Is it safe with diabetes medication? Black seed has actually been shown in several small trials to modestly improve blood sugar control, which is a benefit for many people. But it also means if you're on medication for diabetes, you should monitor your blood sugar a bit more closely when you start, since the combined effect can occasionally push levels lower than expected. This is a conversation to have with your doctor, not a reason to avoid it outright. What if you're allergic to other seeds? Black seed is botanically distinct from tree nuts and most common seed allergens. But if you have a known seed allergy of any kind, introduce it slowly, a 1/4 teaspoon for the first few days, and watch for any reaction before moving to the full dose. Can this replace a walk or elevation or the basic advice your doctor already gave you? No, and I want to be direct about that. This is an addition to the fundamentals, not a replacement for them. Movement still matters, hydration still matters. This seed is the piece that was missing, not a shortcut around the rest. The real reason this matters. Here's what this actually comes down to. For decades, you've been told that circulation decline after 70 is simply what happens, that cold feet, cramping legs, and a rising fall risk are just the price of getting older. That's not entirely true. A significant portion of that decline is a correctable deficiency in how your body produces and protects nitric oxide, and black seed provides one of the most concentrated, well-researched ways to correct it that exists in a food-based form. You're not fighting your age. You're correcting something your body lost the ability to do efficiently on its own and giving it the raw materials to do it again. Here's my challenge to you. Commit to 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed black seed oil every single day for the next 30 days. Take it with a small bit of food, morning or split morning and evening, and be consistent. Track how your legs feel each week. Notice the warmth returning to your feet. Pay attention to whether the nighttime cramping fades. Watch how far you can walk without your legs feeling heavy. This works. The science behind it is real, published, and growing every year. But it only works if you actually do it, consistently, starting now, not next month. Write it down if that helps you stay accountable. A single line in a notebook or on your calendar each morning. Oil taken, yes or no. 30 check marks in a row is all it takes to know, for yourself, whether this makes the difference the research says it should. You don't need to take my word for it, and you don't need to take any doctor's word for it either. You just need 30 days and 1 teaspoon a day to find out for yourself. Start tomorrow morning, 1 teaspoon with a little food and 30 days of consistency. Your legs will thank you, your mobility will thank you, your independence will thank you.